I was just sitting here and I was thinking, and I know the thoughts that I have, a lot of inhabiting souls on planet Earth have to, at some point on our journey, have these same thoughts. And the thoughts that I was having, and I had to address these thoughts because it kept popping up in my consciousness were, do you really want out? Derek, do you really want out of the system? Or are you just talking shit? Or are you just frustrated with the system because the system that's in place right now was not put in place to benefit you? Are you just bitter and covet those souls that this system benefits, the system that is in place now? Or do you really, really, really want out of the system? And just from my journey, dealing with myself, with my wife and my family, and the things that I am manifesting, the land that we're purchasing and getting back closer to nature, I really want out. I really want out. It's just that feeling that I get on my way out, taking the necessary steps to free myself from the system. And the first big step was to stop working for money, to stop physically working for money, and to start using my mind to create wealth, using my imagination again to manifest money, and to stop working for money, exchanging my time for money. And that's a big step for a lot of people. I know it was for me because the first more than half of my life, I was trained, and I know a lot of you feel the same way. I was trained and dictated to work for money, to give up my time and energy in exchange for this fiat currency. It's a vicious system. And we get plugged into this system at such a young age. It's a vicious, ruthless cycle. And it wasn't until I stepped out of the system for a period of time. And I know one might ask, how did you do that? I just, at one particular time in my life, I just no longer gave a fuck about the system. And on the outside, we look at that. We look at people who don't give the fuck or a fuck about the system. We look at them as failures. People who you see that have everything they own with them, pushing carts, unemployed, sleeping on the streets, in homeless shelters. When in retrospect, looking back on my journey, that's like the perfect time to get out of the system. Is when you reach the end of what you call your rope. I mean, what the fuck do you have to lose? You don't have anything anyway. You know what I mean? And what that does is it forces you back to nature. It forces you back to your natural instincts. It humbles you. It deflates the ego. You're right where you need to be to start renewing your mind and looking at the system from a different perspective. Now, I'm not saying, especially if you're not ready and mentally prepared to start manifesting wealth with your mind, I'm not talking to you. If you're not ready to stop working for money, exchanging your time and energy for money. What do I mean by that? I mean, plugging into the system at a young age, being taught how to fit into the system, choosing a career, choosing a sport, and competing with other souls for money. Competition, competitiveness, polarity, being number one, the illusion of being number one. Working your whole life physically for money, for wealth, for this make-believe life that's supposed to make everything okay when you become a multimillionaire. And I smile because I know it's bullshit now. And we bicker and we talk so much shit about the system, but do we really want out? Or are we just talking shit? Because if you really want out, then you have to be prepared to create your own path, to create your own road, I might say, your own path, and no longer be a follower, and no longer care what other people's perspective of your life is. You can't care what other people think of you when they see you, the holographic image of you. You can't care. And I'm not saying that from a selfish point of view, to be just selfish and self-centered, but coming out of the system, you have to be kind of selfish because everyone is going to try to hold you into this system that is unjust, unbalanced, and it wasn't set up for you and I. Who are you and I? Well, we're the quote unquote the middle class or the rich. This system that we live by, that we swear by, that we die by, was put in place for the elite. The elite, big difference. 13 families who don't pay taxes. We have a president Now, who doesn't pay taxes? It doesn't benefit us. We are the working class. And somehow, some way, the working class has become the only option when we come into this three-dimensional plane called Earth. Work, 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 physical, work, work, work to the bone, work hard, work, 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 physical work, outwork this person, give it all you got while everybody else is sleeping. I'm up working, competitiveness. And when you really sit and think about it, when you're really sitting in your $10 million house with all of the cars that you can buy, with all of the fiat currency that you could possibly have, you take that deep breath like I'm taking now. And if you're honest with yourself, and you say, is this it? Is this what I dedicated my whole incarnation to make it to the top and feel all alone? Is this the top? Is this artificial frequency that I'm carrying? Is this the top? Is this what I work for? My whole life to be hated, to lose my identity, to have no time to watch my children grow, to have no time to take a deep breath and just sit in nature. Is this life? Spend 20 years of my life in a system educating me to teach a certain way, teaching me to think a certain way, to teach me to look at other individuals a certain way based on currency, based on assets, based on color, religion. What the fuck? But the question the question I want to keep asking, and the question I keep asking myself, are you really ready to get out of the system, or are you just talking shit? Because if you're ready to get out, then you have to take full responsibility, Derek, of your path. Meaning, you have to grow your own food. You're responsible for your own water. Your water can no longer come out of these lead-filled pipes. You're responsible for your own wealth. And in order to come out of the system, you must create your own system. Meaning, you must go back to the only truth that I know, and that's nature. You must get out of the cement cubes that we've all been placed inside, which is the cities and the inner cities, which is just infested with cement blocks, cubes, squares. We have to get back to truth, which is nature. We have to get our babies back on mom's milk. We have to educate our own children and teach our children the way of nature. The only thing that I know that never changes is nature. Everything else it just changed so sporadically. 1 minute is this, 1 minute is that, and it's impossible to keep up. You just start to feel like a hamster on a wheel in this holographic life, this illusion of what life should be, this illusion of what they tell us life is and what life consists of. Going to school, getting a good education, you work real hard, and when you work real hard all of your life, you can retire when you're 65 and sit back and be taken care of. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's not the life for me. But me identifying that that's not the life for me, I must create my own path. I must be responsible for my spirit, and the spirit's me duplicating myself. What do I mean by that? When I duplicate myself, it's when my seed creates another life in 3 dimensions. It's me duplicating myself. I call that duplication of myself, my son or my daughter. It's a replica of my DNA. I must take responsibility for my spirits and carve and pave a new way. I must go back to the land. I have to get out of the concrete jungle of the city where they place a fiat currency in between our free resources, our inheritance from Mother Earth, which is free food and free water, which we don't have in the city any longer. And that's a flawed, failed system. That's a system that's in place that will keep you working forever. And the only way out of the system is by creating your own. Enough of us creating our own systems and just stop choosing the system that is in place. It's like we have one option when we have infinite options. We have to reconstruct the way that we think. We have to tap into our multi-dimensional beingness that we are. But are we willing to do that? Or are we just talking shit? Are we just complaining? Are we willing to make that change? Or are we comfortable enough, just doing enough? I put my 8 hours in today. I got a good job. Are we done competing against each other? Are we done living out of ego, or is this ego going to stay intact for infinity? Are we through judging each other based on revenue and income? Are we ready to look into the eyes, the window of the soul of individuals and become one again? Or are we just talking shit? Are we really tired of dictatorship? Are we really ready to create our own paths? Or do we still want to wait on a check every month or every week? Just something to think about. I know that's what I was thinking about this morning. And I say I'm ready with my tongue. But am I really ready to get out in that field and till that land and grow that food and be responsible for all the inhabitants on my land, and not just this generation? But am I really ready to break free of this system and take responsibility of my spirit and all of the replicas of my spirit that I created in 3 density? Or is it just easy enough to just throw them into the system that I've become a victim of? Send them off to school every day to get them out of my hair and let the system teach them. And let the system say, if you want a good life, you have to go to school to work for us, one of the 13 families. When will we just stop talking and start taking action? When will we unite as souls, as soul groups, and take back what is rightfully ours? And that's our free will to be able to do whatever we choose to do in our imaginations. When will we take back our power, our creative power to think and stop being controlled by dictatorship? They are literally right now trying to figure out how to keep us under control, because we reached the point where people are tired of being tired, and we tired of being fucked over, and we tired of these fucking race wars where, I mean, can't you see it, ladies and gentlemen? The people that you're warring against drink the same water you drink with fluoride in it. They eat the same GMO foods that you eat. They go to the same Krogers and the same Walmarts that you do. Breathe the same air. The same sun shines on us all. But somehow, some way, we think we're better because we got a little piece of paper that says he's a doctor or she's a lawyer, or and we put these papers and plaques on our wall, and we look down on people who don't have these credentials. And at the first sign of adversity, God bless America. Have mercy, God. Have mercy on what? An unjust system? A hatred system? Thieves and robbers of the land? Unbalanced scales? Have mercy on what? You guys don't see a lot of these, so I decided to put one of these up. This is just inside my own mind. These are some of the thoughts that I juggle around. Do I really want out? Or am I just talking shit now? Do you really want out? Or are you comfortable with your paycheck? I don't give a fuck about y'all. I got mine. I'm comfortable. Do you really want to create that society where there's no money, no fiat currency, where we go back to bartering and trading? I'm great with wood. I'm great with technology. I'll give you my technology in exchange for your harvest that comes in every season. See, that's the thing. A lot of people don't want to get rid of the system that's in place. They like the fiat currency because right now, at this moment, it's in their favor. But as we witness and as we've been witnessing, at least in my 46 years, it shifts, it swings to and from. You rich today, you poor tomorrow. I just want to touch back on what I mean by manifesting wealth and money instead of physically working for money. See, we came through a system that gave you options and boxes to check. You could be a plumber, you could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, you could be a fireman, you could be a police officer, you could be a teacher, and that's okay. That's okay if that's where you are. We got 9 billion souls on this planet. And if that's where you are in your ascension, then fine. I'm not naive to the fact that some of these positions that I named are necessary. But there's a lot of us that still live in our imaginations. And we have wonderful, wonderful, brilliant ideas that will change the world. And we're unable to tap into our creative right side of our brains because it does not fit in the system. The rats, the fat rats, want to control everything. So as fast as we come up with ideas and solutions and inventions, and free energy and fresh water and all of these things and cancer cures and AIDS cures, they martyr us. They kill us. They destroy us. Why? You know why. Because they want you and I to continue to drink their fluoride water and take their witchcraft medicine and eat their GMO foods. They don't want us. Can you just imagine if we all just start growing our own food? I saw it on the internet one day and it just touched my soul. I think it was in Switzerland. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I was just really into growing my own food, and I'm growing my own food right now, but not on the scale where I need to be to feed all of my animals and all of my family. But in this particular country, the backyards were just organic gardens for acres and acres and acres and acres. Everyone grew their own food. There were no supermarkets. And I just thought that that was so beautiful. And that's when the light bulb first turned on for me about growing my own food and living by the water, posting up by the fresh, moving electric water. We're not getting electric water anymore. We're getting stagnant, bottled, polluted, fluoride water in plastic bottles and containers and copper pipes and old water filtration systems. And I think instead of buying $10 million homes and $350,000 cars and $150,000 gold teeth in my mouth and hoarding $2 million in cash in duffel bags, I think we should take back what's ours And that's the land that we've been stripped from. A lot of us are on land that does not fit our DNA. We live in environments that there's not enough sunlight to keep us healthy. We live in environments where the temperatures are not conducive to our DNA. We've been scattered. We've been placed in cubes, squares, based on color and nationalities. We've been scattered. And I know the only way out of the system is for enough of us to get tired of being tired of being tired of becoming victims to the system. The best thing that I did this month was I taught a young lady a live-in who we shared our space with. I won't even say I taught her. I reminded her of who she was, that divine feminine energy. And I helped her remember who she really is. And I watched this young lady within the span of 1 week stop working for the system and to create her own organic products that she's now introducing to different communities, different nationalities. And she's so excited. Here's a lady that was in the military for years doing things that she hated. She was in a system. And my wife ran across her, a beautiful soul. And just from staying with us now for 2 months, she has her own product line, organic, which she's out right now. I remember her first $25 day when she went out with her own just lip gloss that she created out of organic. I watched her create it. Coconut oil. I don't remember all of the ingredients, and she printed them out and she mixed it up and compiled this product of love. And I watched her go out and make $25 that within an hour out of the system, tax-free from the hoarding evil government that wants to tax everything that they have not created, have not imagined, it has nothing to do with them. They just tax everything, and we've just become so comfortable with giving up 30% of our imagination to gluttons. And we can't even find, those of you who are educated enough, you know that there's no real law that support taxes. Go to YouTube, go to Google, find the tax law that binds us to give up 30% of everything we make. Find the law. There's no law. And so back on this young lady, she's carving her path from her imagination, things that bring her joy, tapping into her creativity and creating her own. and not settling for something that's handed to you. So the bottom line is, are we ready to get out of the system? Or are we just talking shit? Just something to think about. Peace and love.